Hello, it's TW here. Welcome. Join me as I delve into 100 years of horror, one flick at a time. Quick, big thank you to our patron, Sean, who's our top tier sponsor, and anyone else who's listening, thank you. And remember, there are free memberships at Patreon. Thank you for your support. 1922, Nosferatu, a symphony of horror. Perhaps the ultimate in early horror. Nosferatu, for short, is easily one of the most iconic films of the silent era. The production could not get the rights to Dracula off the Stoker estate, and so they ploughed ahead with some name changes. This convinced precisely nobody, and they had the film sued off them. While court directives were to destroy it, thankfully some prints survived. F.W. Murnau directed this striking film with style. German expressionism has never been so well connected with plot, perhaps aside from Episode 1's The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Theoretically an adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula, the film is nevertheless its own entity. It imbues the mythos of Dracula with various elements that later Dracula adaptations borrowed, such as sunlight being the ultimate foil for vampires. The original text made sunlight only a dampener of said creature's powers. The film initially moves with a brisk pace, setting up the characters and context. Thomas Hutter, based on Jonathan Harker, must go to Transylvania to secure a good real estate deal with Count Orlok. Orlok becomes obsessed with Hunter's wife, and the rest is history. The music, only a partial of what was originally produced, is wonderful and appropriate. An early scene, curious in its existence, shows our second protagonist, the wife of Hutter, Ellen, destroying a pleasant flower as if suggesting that death awaits. The overacting of the early silent era was on full display in this film. It is worth mentioning that many players, actors of the time, were simply doing what they knew from the stage, theatre being the predominant form of entertainment at the time. Even by 1920 standards, it is a tad over the top in this picture. Other notable occurrences, references to werewolves as part of the vampire mythos, are made with some stock images of hyenas of all things. Meanwhile, 7 deadly sins, punishment, these themes play out throughout the film. When watching this picture, the positives and negatives will likely stand out. The use of vampire as metaphor for plague is well executed, although arguably done better in the 1979 remake. Shots of rats are skin-crawling and well executed. Further symbolism in the form of a fly trapped in a fly trap is an example of unsubtle storytelling that early directors embraced with vigour. But what is something that permeates this film and all subsequent versions? The use of light and shadow. The iconic extended fingers creeping and reaching through the air are timeless and powerful. Wonderful and creepy dialogue like Van Helsing or Professor Bueller looking at a nearly see-through polyp in a pseudo-scientific study, almost like a phantom, show the chops of the writers. Effective use of visual effects, imagery and symbolism make this an all-time classic. The sagging finale is noticeable, and interestingly, the sailors being devoured to leave an empty ship is shot in such a way that it is reminiscent of Spielberg's The Lost World almost 80 years later. The producer, Albin Grau, reportedly a fan of the occult, imbued the film with some features that enhanced the curious production. This is likely the reason for many of the most iconic elements. The visuals of Count Orlok are the strongest selling point of this film. Remarkable is an understatement. Have I overused the word iconic? In this case, not so. Nosferatu, despite some pacing issues, is easily one of the most important, powerful and creepy films of the silent era and possibly of all time. Enjoy.